You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
All right, good evening, everybody. So glad to be back with you. Sorry about last week. Sometimes crap happens, though. We got a lot to do tonight, but before we get kicked off, just want to thank the Foo and RB for, one, a great show, guys, and two, for the kind intro coming into my hour. Appreciate that. Coming up after me tonight, you got Jesse's POV, followed by the Stafford Voice, and then Rick Robinson, the man with America Off the Rails. Do yourself a favor, stay tuned. It's Wednesday night. TV sucks. Even with the new season, Wednesday is still the down night. Get your knowledge on right here tonight. Stay with me. All right. So we're going to kick this off. And, I hate to be the downer, but, I can't be as fun and upbeat as Sam and RB. We got to talk about some serious stuff here, folks. We got to talk about immigration. We got to talk about the refugee plan, all this good stuff going on that nobody's talking about out in the forefront that we need to know about. So if you didn't hear over the last week, and judging by everything else that's going on in the world and especially our country, you probably didn't. The Trump administration has proposed a ceiling of 45,000 refugees next year. Now, this will be the lowest cap set since the Refugee Act was passed in 1980. So just last Wednesday, the administration sent to Congress a report on its refugee admissions plans for fiscal year 18. The 45,000 ceiling is a 59% drop from the cap set by Obama last year. Now, President Trump's January 27th executive order lowered that to 50,000, but again, most of that year, they had already come in. In 4 months, he had already admitted more than 50,000. Obama did before his time in office expired. So are we saying that there's going to be 50,000 more, or that he's going to cap it at the 50,000 that already came in? Time will tell, because what we also know for a fact is that there are about 2,200, I believe it is, refugees from the Middle East and Northern Africa that are coming to the United States via Australia. This is already happening. And this is something that President Obama had agreed to before his time in office expired. And it is something that President Trump will not go back on. So this is a done deal. I don't know where these 2,200 people are slated to go. That information was not available at the time that I saw this. I am still looking for that and will pass it along just as soon as possible, because trust me, folks, trust me, if these are quote unquote refugees that Obama accepted, you can count on the fact that there's going to be a percentage of them. I'm not saying it's a big percentage or even a small percentage or a middle percentage, but there's going to be a group out of this group of people that are hard criminal elements. We need to know where these people are going. We absolutely need to know. So, back to the Refugee Act. The law was signed in 1980 by Jimmy Carter, and it raised the annual ceiling from 17,400 refugees to 50,000. Okay, that was the lowest cap until, or the lowest cap until now was 67,000, set by the Reagan administration for fiscal year 86. So even though this ceiling of 45,000 is the lowest yet, that doesn't necessarily mean that the fiscal year, which started on Sunday, will bring the smallest intake of refugees since 1980. Because as I said, we already have these deals that are going on. Actual admissions have fallen off below the ceiling set for that year, a pattern especially evident during the years immediately after 9/11. In fiscal year 02 and again in 03, the Bush administration admitted far fewer refugees than the 70,000 ceiling it set for each year. For fiscal year 02, only 27,131. And that's 60% fewer than the ceiling. And then in 03, admissions rose slightly to 28,403, still 59% below the set ceiling by the Refugee Act. Now, a senior administration official, and I hate when the media does this, because if they're worth talking to, they're worth naming. And if they're not worth naming, they shouldn't be running their mouth about policy. But a senior administration official allegedly said that the aim in 2018 would be to admit refugee numbers as close to the ceiling as possible. Asked about speculation that the administration would slow walk processing and admission and so end up with a number far lower than 45,000, the official, speaking on background during a conference call, said unequivocally that was not the goal. I'd like to know who this official is. They said, we have every plan to process as many refugees as we can under this ceiling, saying that they have taken a look at requirements, including the new vetting standards, and they believe they can get into the ballpark of this number of this ceiling. So this background briefing on Wednesday, they said that it's preparing its proposal for the next year. The security and safety of the American people is their chief concern, they said. So while maintaining the United States leadership role in humanitarian protection, an integral part of this mission is to ensure that refugee resettlement opportunities only go to those who are eligible for such protection and who are not known to present a risk to the safety and security of our country. Lovely sentiment. We'll see how it gets followed through. Like I've said before, folks, I'm not a hardcore MAGA guy, and I'm definitely not a never Trump guy. I want my president to do good, follow the Constitution, and help the country. That's what a president is supposed to do. That's what I want my president to do. It doesn't matter what I think about them as a person. It absolutely does not matter. So, fiscal year 2018 proposal maintains a regional breakdown of admissions not dissimilar to that of recent years. It does allow for a slightly bigger intake from Africa and smaller ones from predominantly Muslim Near East, Southeast Asia region and from Europe and Central Asia. For the next year, the administration proposes resettlement of 19,000 refugees from Africa, 17,500 from the Near East and South Asia, 5,000 from East Asia, 2,000 from Europe and Central Asia, and 1,500 from Latin America and the Caribbean. I got news for Mr. Trump. That number is going to increase from the Caribbean without a doubt following the storms. By comparison, in 2017, the regional breakdown was just slightly different. It's not even worth going into. The percentages moved, 3 or 4% one way or the other. The only thing of note is that Africa went from 37.6 to 42.2, and the Near East, South Asia Muslim countries went from 40.2% to 38.8%. So, small shifting of numbers there, insignificant in the big picture. The total number way down, though. Way down from the 110,000 cap of Obama's last year in office. So the caps are set, but then reality comes in and sweeps it through. And we'll look at real quick. We'll look at 2016. That was the last complete year they had of Obama's admissions. The breakdown was 37.2% from Africa, 41.8% from, we'll call it just the Middle East, 14.7% from Eastern Asia, 4.6% from Europe and Central Asia, and 1.5% from Latin America and the Caribbean. Now, as of Wednesday, a total of 53,378 refugees have been admitted in fiscal year 2017, which is far below the cap of the 110 originally proposed by the Obama administration. Now, is that, because of the cut that Obama, he limited the executive order, he modified it when he came into office? I don't know. Is that because Congress resisted? I don't know. They're not saying one way or the other. The Supreme Court ruled in June, however, that refugee applicants who have a, quote, credible claim of a bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the United States may not be barred from entry, even if admitting them breaks the 50,000 ceiling. Now, see, here we have a problem, folks. We have a problem because of the powers vested to the president by the Constitution and by Congress. The office of the president has the right to say who does and who doesn't come into this country. So where does the Supreme Court get off telling the president who he has to admit? This is one of the problems I have with these 9 black robes. Okay? I have a problem with it. They are not the end-all, be-all. They should not be the end-all, be-all. Now, Immigration and Nationality Act requires the president to submit a refugee admission report to the House and Senate Judiciary Committees before the start of each fiscal year, ahead of appropriate consultation involving designated cabinet-level representatives. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Acting Homeland Security Secretary Elaine Duke began that process Wednesday. Reaction was quick in coming from members of the House Judiciary Committee and fell as expected along party lines. The Trump administration's refugee ceiling for the coming year maintains our nation's generosity towards those in need and, importantly, ensures limited resources are used wisely and that our citizens are protected in light of ongoing terrorist threats. Now, this was from Representative Bob Goodlatte of Virginia, and he said that after meeting with Tillerson and Duke on the early take on the proposal. Goodlatte also called for passage of the Refugee Program Integrity Restoration Act, which, along with other things, would give Congress and not the president the final say in setting annual refugee admission ceilings. And this bill was approved by committee last June. Now, see, how does this work? Because Congress inferred this power to the president. Now they want to take it away? I don't get this. This is written into the Constitution, folks. This isn't that hard. There is a separation of the branches and their powers. And there is nothing wrong with the executive branch having this power. It was good enough for Obama to have it. How come they didn't want to take it from him? So, committee ranking member John Conyers, a Democrat from Michigan, in a joint statement with Zoe Lofgren, another Democrat but from California, called the proposed ceiling, quote, an affront to the United States legacy as a protector of oppressed people. To them, to Conyers and Lofgren, I say blow it out your backsides. Today's decision, they say, turns our backs on the world at a time when there are more refugees and asylum seekers and internally displaced persons than at any time since World War II. They said it's an abdication of our moral authority and an abandonment of the very values that make America great. So let me ask you something, folks. These are people talking about values that make America great, but they want to snatch your rights right out of the Constitution and take them from your hands after Las Vegas. Do you see the hypocrisy? It's not that hard. They will spin anything hard, working on feelings, tugging on heartstrings. They don't give a damn about the legality of anything. They're trying to change the culture through emotions and feelings. In the Senate, Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley and Ranking Member Dianne Franken-Feinstein from California, in a joint statement, expressed frustration at the nature of this year's consultation. They say they're incredibly frustrated that the annual consultation for refugee admissions, which is required by law, was finalized just one day in advance. Well, maybe if Congress had done their, or let me even break this down further, maybe if the Senate had done their job and started confirming cabinet picks for the president and his administration instead of dragging their heels, in record fashion, I might add, maybe some of this stuff would have been done in a more timely fashion. So they have no one to blame but themselves. And then to sit here with their selective moral indignation at an administration that got it done by the deadline, they hold no water with me, folks. None. The Immigration and Nationality Act calls for the report to be submitted to the committees to the extent possible, at least 2 weeks before the consultation. Well, guess what? Maybe the extent wasn't possible because maybe the Senate didn't appoint enough people in enough time to get the job done. It just pisses me off how they do this. And, you know, some of you out there, I talk regular to on Twitter. You know where I'm coming from with this. Some of you I talk more to, and you really know where I'm coming from with this. But think about how dumb the average person is that they don't see this. Now know that at that average level, half the country is dumber than that. This is the Democrats, folks. This is the political left. They're counting on your stupidity. They admitted as much when they shoved the ACA down our throats. And trust me, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent on that because I could do another hour just on the ACA and Congress dragging its heels on repeal. We're talking about immigration. We're talking about refugees. Related topic. You know, we're going to press right along here. Related topic. On a Facebook page called DACA Dreamers Only. No, it's not a dating site. It's a Facebook page. Several young adults who are in DACA insist they've worked for every single thing they've gotten and have never received a single handout from the United States government. Let me give you some of the quotes. Here's the first quote. All day long, I hear people say illegals get free health insurance, Medicaid, food stamps, welfare. Anyone's state give out free welfare services? I know mine don't. Okay? Here's another quote. It's common knowledge that we can't take advantage of many of the programs such as welfare and Medicare. That'd be Medicaid. Yet many believe that we do. We're not taking advantage of anyone, and all we want is a chance. But look, folks, here's the truth. Illegal immigrants do get several kinds of government handouts. You can even say it's a type of welfare. Much of it through their U.S.-born children. And a study by the Center for Immigration Studies showed that 62% of households headed by an illegal immigrant received some type of welfare. Okay? In addition, U.S. taxpayers have spent billions of dollars a year for K-12 education for illegal immigrants. About 690,000 whom have qualified for DACA. Okay? And that is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals for those scoring at home. The Trump administration rescinded the DACA program this month. But, okay, listen, folks, he rescinded the DACA program, which I guess technically would mean that he has kept a campaign promise. Okay, so we have to chalk one up for another one that he kept. Now, at the same time, he gave a 6-month wind-down period to give Congress the opportunity to pass some version of the DREAM Act, which he said he will sign. Why? Because he never really wanted to end DACA to start with. He knew this was the ball game. Why? I don't know. Why you would risk completely turning your back on your base, I don't know. But this is what he's done. Okay, so DACA winds down over 6 months. Congress is going to pass some version of the DREAM Act. They're going to send it to the president. He's going to sign it into law. And guess what's going to happen, people? De facto legal legislative amnesty. That's right. And it's not going to be for 690,000. It's going to be for more like 4 to 5 million. which is still going to leave a lot of people, quote unquote, in the shadows, as the Democrats like to say, here illegally. Look, the biggest benefit to illegal immigrants in DACA has gotten by far is a K-12 education in America's schools. Okay, with extra services provided to them for English language learner programs and other programs offered through schools that include school lunch, school breakfast, in many places summer meals, reduced or free aftercare, and summer camp. The total school-related benefits amount to the year-round care and feeding of hundreds of thousands of children whose parents are living and working in our country illegally. End of story. So don't hand me crap about we don't get this and we don't get that. You got plenty. The average per pupil cost of K-12 education in public schools in America is over $12,000. That's an average. And that's according to the National Center for Education Statistics. But more is spent on average on immigrant children. So your own children are being shortchanged on your tax dollars because their illegal parents wanted to come here illegally and just decided to break the law and damn our immigration laws and damn our sovereignty and damn everything that makes America a great country. They don't care about doing it the right way. They just want in because they know once they're in, they get. Now, here's my challenge to open borders people, okay? You say that we shouldn't have borders. Borders are inhumane. Hold that thought. We're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue this. We're going to continue my challenge. Go ahead and cue it up, Rick. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, and then we'll continue this discussion. Unless Rick's not there. And then we can do it, in a few more minutes. It's fine.
Hang on just a second. Sorry. I got distracted by shiny stuff.
It's the shiny red button, Rick. Just press it.
No, the red button makes kaboom noises. We don't want to press that one. All right, here we go.
Oh,
but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. you'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby, ain't that America?
All right. Welcome back. I forgot to do this in the first half hour, so I want to give you the call number just in case you want to call and tell me to shut my pie hole. You don't agree with me. You agree with me. You think I may have something wrong, but you still think I'm on the right path. Anyway, the number is 405-648-4798. That's 405-648-4798. Now, when we went to commercial break, we were talking about open borders. And here's my challenge to all these people out there that talk about how borders are inhumane. And we're all people and we should all just live together, you know. It's the 60s all over again, but we don't have to get naked and get high.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That's exactly right. That's not how this works. So here's my challenge to them. You want us to drop borders on the political right-hand side of the spectrum. Okay, well, here's my challenge to dropping the borders. Okay? We drop borders and allow anybody to come in. Then we also kill all welfare for non-U.S. citizens. Period. There's none. And for U.S. citizens, you also have to prove that you are incapacitated and incapable of working to receive it. None of this, I've been unemployed for 3 years, I have mental anguish under Obama's administration, give me welfare. No. Real, honest to goodness, legitimate disabilities is the only people who, and the indigent retired. Say you're 90 and you can't work anymore. We're going to call that a disability, okay? If you can't afford to retire, we're going to help you out. You know, because you've been working since you were 15 and you're now 90. Okay? So give me a break on all that crap. There's your challenge. You want to drop the borders? Then we cut out all the welfare. Where am I going with this? We're going back into this immigration thing, okay? These dreamers, the DACA kids, okay? ELL alone, the English English language learner, or whatever the hell it is, that program in 2016 by itself in K-12 education cost $59.8 billion. There's your, I don't receive any government handouts. There's your, I work hard for everything. Maybe you do work hard to learn English, which you should. The brunt of these costs consists of providing salaries, benefits, and/or training to hundreds of thousands of LEP teachers and programs, followed by additional funding for tutoring, bilingual textbooks, ancillary material, additional administrative tasks, and facility enlargement enhancements needed to incorporate the increased number of students. This is not my opinion. This is straight out of Mass Immigration's Impact on Public Education, a 2016 FAIR report. It's called The Elephant in the Classroom. You can look it up yourself. It's all there in black and white. I'm not making it up. I'm passing along the facts. I don't play on feelings. I deal in facts instead. As of September 4th, there are 689,800 people officially in the DACA program registry. They are between the ages of 15 and 36. The largest group of them, 253,000, are between the ages of 21 and 25. A total of 65% of DACA recipients are under 25. The great majority are originally from Mexico. To qualify for DACA, a person had to have resided in the United States continuously since 2007 or had to be enrolled in either school or a training program or have graduated from high school. According to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, 253,100 DACA recipients are 21 to 25 years old and would have therefore attended 4 years at an American high school. Another 196,500 are now 16 to 20 years old and therefore would have gone to an American school for at least 8 years. An additional 2,000 are below the age of 16 and would have spent at least 10 years in American schools. Multiplying the numbers by $12,000 per pupil brings the total cost to about $31.25 billion, which is the most conservative estimate possible, and is likely to be underestimating the amount that U.S. taxpayers have paid for schooling for DACA recipients since 2007. I'd say so, because that $12,000 per year is an average, so that's stretched across every kid in the country. You can double the 31.25. That's going to be a much closer approximation when you factor in all the additional services that the DACA children receive. This does not count free school meals. Does not. Now, Harvard researcher Roberto Gonzalez found in a study of DACA recipients that 73% qualified for free lunch in high school based on their low family income. In 2016, the United States spent $18 billion on the school lunch program, double the $7.5 billion it had spent in 2000. The dramatic increase is thought to be largely due to the increase in the number of children in U.S. schools where are either illegal immigrants or the children of illegal immigrants. Another huge benefit the illegal aliens now DACA have collected is in-state tuition at public universities and colleges in the 21 states that now offer in-state tuition for undocumented students. DACA recipients might not consider that a benefit, but on average, people paying in-state tuition are only paying about 1/3 of the total cost of their education, with the rest paid for by the state. If you're only covering about 1/3 of your tuition yourself, then somebody else is paying for it. End of story. It's a huge government benefit. Most government benefits don't come in the form of a check with your name on it. And setting aside education, a lot of illegal immigrants are receiving actual welfare, often through their children, but not always. The WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children, the food program that provides coupons for free food to women and their children, does not require a person to be a U.S. citizen to qualify. It should. U.S. citizens pay for the program. Why shouldn't our citizens be the ones to benefit from it instead of those from another country? A study by Stephen Camarata of the Center for Immigration Studies showed that 62% of all households headed by an illegal immigrant got some kind of welfare. Almost 23% of them got WIC, and more than 22% of them got food stamps and EBT, most through their U.S.-born children. In addition, almost all prenatal care and births by illegal immigrants in the United States are covered by Medicaid, another I don't get benefits, as the beneficiary is considered to be the future U.S. citizen who is to be born, assuming that they are U.S. citizens. We've already had the discussion about quote-unquote anchor babies before. I don't care who likes the term and who doesn't like the term. That's exactly what they are. Illegals come here and have children so that they think that they can stay and be illegals here forever. Jason Richwine and Robert Rector estimated in a 2013 report for the Heritage Foundation that in 2010, the average household headed by an illegal immigrant household received close to $25,000 in government benefits and paid on average about $10,000 in taxes, a deficit of $15,000 per household. So how much have DACA recipients collected in welfare and other benefits paid for by U.S. taxpayers? The number is in excess of $100 billion, including the K-12 education, school lunches, actual welfare, WIC, food stamps, EBT, fast cash, Medicaid, etc. But as government numbers are not fully available in real live time, it's almost impossible to know exactly how much illegal immigrants who now have DACA have benefited from being in the United States illegally. They don't even know how to look at the big picture. They're too busy spouting about how hard they've had it and how they've busted their hump and that this is their home and they're staying and we can't make them go. They're wrong on all counts. Now, we're getting ready to kick off a brand new, we'll call it, a season. We'll call it a season. The Supreme Court is back in season. Yeah. You can't really call it session because, good Lord, they hear so little in the way of arguments. We'll call it season. So, begins on the first Monday in October. We've passed that already, okay? And this session of the United States Supreme Court is going to include some pretty big cases. I don't know if you've been paying attention. The justices probably will not hear the dispute over President Trump's travel ban, originally scheduled for October, now that he has issued a new policy that is yet to be examined by lower courts. And we know, of course, that there's going to be, that one out there that just screws everything up. but a look at some of the big cases that the Supreme Court is going to hear in their new term. There may or may not be some argument dates with some of these cases, but here we go. What we're going to hear from the Supreme Court this session. Wedding cake for same-sex couples, yet unscheduled. The case stems from the Colorado baker's religious objections to making a cake for a recently married same-sex couple. At issue is the baker's claim that he should not be forced to produce a message with which he disagrees, and the Colorado law that bars discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. The Trump administration is backing the baker. Also, partisan redistricting was actually supposed to start yesterday. I don't know whether it did or not. Basically, this is the legal fight over redistricting in Wisconsin. The left calls it gerrymandering of districts. This has the potential to reshape American politics. The justices could, for the first time, impose limits on drawing political maps for partisan advantage. Democratic voters sued over redistricting plans that entrenched Republicans' hold on a state government in a state that is otherwise closely divided between the parties. We'll see how that shakes out, especially now that there's not a tie anymore. We have our 9th justice seated, and this will be Gorsuch's first full term in the Supreme Court. Monday, employee rights argument was supposed to start. The term's first case pits employers against their workers. To be decided is whether businesses can enforce part of a contract with their employees that prohibits workers from taking complaints about pay, working conditions, and other issues to court, and instead force them to go into individual arbitration rather than a group effort. Workers say the provision contained in the millions of contracts violates federal labor laws and costs too much to go alone against the wealthy employer. So again, we shall see. I don't know. We got the administration right now is on the side of the employer, reversing the position taken earlier by the Obama administration when the case was first, requested to be heard. So, also unscheduled for this, sports betting. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, the beached governor, is appealing court rulings that effectively prevent the state from making it legal to bet on pro and college sports games at casinos and racetracks. Christie, whose term expires at the end of the year, almost certainly will be out of office when the case is decided, but it could lead several states to seek a share of the estimated $150 billion that is bet illegally on sports each year. The NCAA and the major sports, professional sports leagues oppose Christie's efforts. Interesting. We'll see how that shakes out. Also unscheduled, cell tower site records. In a case about privacy in the digital age, a Michigan man who was convicted in a string of robberies of stores selling cell phones and other equipment says the police should not have been able to obtain months' worth of records of his cell phone use without first getting a search warrant. The records helped place him in the proximity of the stores when they were robbed. The decision is likely to affect the privacy rules for a raft of digital data held by large institutions, including banks, telephone companies, and internet providers. Interesting. Possible Fourth Amendment implications there. Did I say fourth? I didn't mean fourth, did I? I don't think I did. Wow. Okay. We got to press on. We're short on time. Ohio voter purge. Scheduled for November 8th, Ohio is asking the court to okay a procedure for culling the state's voter rolls that begins by identifying registered voters who have not cast a ballot in the past 2 years. A lower court found that the practice was barred by a federal voter registration law. Civil rights groups portray Ohio's effort as part of a Republican push to restrict voting. This is another case in which the Justice Department, which had backed the civil rights groups, has switched sides since Trump became president. Also unscheduled, union fees. The court could deal a blow to Democratic-leaning unions that represent government workers and overturn a 40-year-old precedent. The justices will take up an appeal from a government worker in Illinois who objects to paying fees to the union that represents government workers to help pay for contract negotiations and other non-political union tasks. The same issue was before the court last year, and the union seemed headed for defeat when Justice Scalia died. The court split 4-4. New Justice Neil Gorsuch could be the fifth vote in the anti-union side needing to win. So, that's what you have for the Supreme Court coming up. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to fit all this in, but I wanted to touch on it. Something that's just happened in recent days you may or may not have heard about, again with everything else, bigger stories going on. The United States State Department announced it was withdrawing more than half its embassy staff from Cuba following specific attacks that sickened at least 21 U.S. embassy employees. On some level, it was only the latest blow to Barack Obama's historic rapprochement with Cuba. On another, though, it's a diplomatic break that never happened. Just last week, Rex Tillerson, the U.S. Secretary of State, said Washington was reviewing a plan to close the entire embassy. As it is, U.S.-Cuba relations remain largely intact. That the response wasn't more severe is partly a reflection of the mystery at the core of the attacks. These are the sonic attacks, if you don't remember. No one yet knows who is responsible. Cuban government officials have denied responsibility and appeared mystified at the cases. There were also Canadian diplomats affected, and Cuba is cooperating in the investigation, but a lot of people in the State Department are saying that the Cubans aren't doing enough and don't really seem to care. They just, seem indifferent to the whole thing. It's somewhat routine for state to withdraw non-emergency staff from embassies where there are security concerns. In the Cuban context, however, Friday's announcement represented a blow to a slow thaw, and then to kick it off, not only with the Friday withdrawal of the U.S., but we have the U.S. now asking Cubans to leave the U.S. So all this is going on. This is definitely not going to really help in advancing U.S.-Cuban relationships. I don't know that it's going to ice them at all, but, it is what it is. This is an initiative that, obviously President Obama had begun with President Trump announcing in June limitations on tourism and trade to the island. Did I say Trump? President Obama. The move fell short of the Trump's administration's announcement that he was canceling the latest administration's completely one-sided deal with Cuba. But it did eliminate the so-called people-to-people exchanges, which allowed Americans to travel to Cuba without seeking government approval or scheduling the trip through a licensed tour company. So perhaps the real surprise is that Trump's administration didn't go further on Friday. U.S. diplomats first complained of unexplained hearing loss in 2016, but it wasn't until last month that Tillerson said the U.S. officials had suffered health attacks, adding that the authorities responsible for finding incidents, but on Friday they used more severe and specific language, saying that they were targeted in attacks. So we had at least 21 government officials in Havana exhibited a range of physical symptoms, including hearing loss, dizziness, tinnitus, balance problems, vision problems, headache, fatigue, cognitive issues, and difficulty sleeping. And they're saying that these are based on sonic attacks. So through news reports, excuse me, oh, wow, that just out of nowhere. Through these reports, a second State Department official said there was no definitive answer on the source or the cause of the attacks. It was reported earlier that the device used in the attacks appeared to be a type of sonic weapon that emitted sound waves capable of inflicting physical harm. So, there you have it, folks. That's it in a nutshell. News you need, get your knowledge on right here. It is the top of the hour. It's time for me to sign off and say goodbye. I want to thank you for joining me. Stay tuned for Jesse's POV, followed by the Stafford Voice, followed by America Off the Rails with the hottest producer in Hollywood, Rick Robinson, the man that does the buttons for my show. That's right. He's here. He's with us every week, whether you know it or not. Hardest working man in showbiz, folks. I'm the Grouch. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones, but they and you are welcome every week right here with me. Thank you and God bless. We'll see you next week.
You and me, ain't that America?